Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for A Wrinkle in Time. So, A Wrinkle in Time is directed by Ava DuVernay, the director of films such as Selma or the documentary 13th, and it follows the story of a young African-American woman who is dealing with the disappearance of her dad. Basically, her dad had the idea that if you believe you can travel many light years with a bit of technology, you are able to do it. It's a really weird concept that sounds odd when you say it out loud, but in the film it works. And it follows her as she is grieving over basically the disappearance and loss of her dad, and how she is suddenly visited by three very odd spirits. I forget their names, but they have to do with who, like, which, and what's it. And they're basically three different, like, goddesses that they don't really rule over anything, but they are creatures from other parts of the galaxy, and they come to Meg because they want to try to help her find her dad. And along the way, Meg, which is her name I believe, is challenged both mentally and physically, as she must deal with self-reflection and, you know, the disappearance of her dad and how that's affected her, and her trying to help the other people that come with her, because her little brother and also a friend of hers who she kind of just became friends with really quickly. That part was rushed, but who she just became friends with, she has to deal with trying to make sure that they're in line. And really the film in the end is about women empowerment, kind of. The theme is not entirely that. The theme of this film really does have to do with believing that you are the best version of yourself. It's really a message of self-confidence, because the evil in this movie that is trying to invade the galaxy is basically symbolic of the idea of, oh, I wish I could be a better version of myself for my friends or for my parents, or so that I could feel better about myself. When really what Meg learns along the way is that that's a really unhealthy way of thinking, and the best way of thinking is that you are the best version of yourself. So obviously that's a great theme, and it really is a great theme for people who are Meg's age, who are 12 or 13, who are going through developmental times in their life where they really don't, they're trying to find their own identity, and through that they can have a lot of self-hatred. And I know that that's far more prevalent for women than men, even though it is there for men. It's more prevalent for women, so I couldn't necessarily relate too much to that theme. I did find a lot of relatability to it, but not on the level that some would, so that's why it may sound a bit off when I say that I didn't like this movie because of the way that it expressed its theme. Basically, it does something that plagues kids' movies, that so many kids' movies have, that really, it's what separates a movie from being catered towards kids but also appealing to adults, and a film that is purely just catered towards kids and nothing else. And that is where you feel the need to pound the same message into your audience's heads over and over and over again. I have not read the book, but I did talk to my mom about it afterwards, because she's a big fan of the book. She was a big fan of it from the beginning of her childhood, and she said that the book, it wasn't subtle about that theme, but it didn't necessarily drive it in at every scene, and that's part of the reason that she didn't really like the movie. And I think that that's a reason the movie struggled, because it is not really necessary to try to take one theme and hammer it into your audience's heads over and over and over again. That really does hurt a movie, because themes are something, it's really the basis of a movie. A theme is a basis of a movie. It's what is the film, or really just stories in general. What is the story trying to tell? What is it trying to say? What moral is it trying to teach? That's really important for a lot of kids' movies, or just any film or any story in general, but it's especially important for kids' movies because those themes at those times can later influence the kids in their lives. So because of that, themes like that are really important, and because of that, sometimes they can get a little too preachy with preaching good morals about being strong, and that is a huge issue with A Wrinkle in Time. Outside of that though, A Wrinkle in Time is really just a boring movie. There's not a lot here to actually be entertained by. It has some interesting visuals, yes, but the film kind of over-markets them, and by that, I mean there's too many long shots or there's too many revealing shots where it's supposed to be like, whoa, look at these amazing visual effects. It's kind of like Oscar bait, but for the visual effects category, and it doesn't work because the effects look pretty good, but the issue is the colors don't pop like they should. If you have a really bright, colorful movie, it should feel like it's in 3D, even if it's in 2D. Even if you are seeing it in standard format, it should still feel like 3D because the colors are supposed to pop off the screen at you. But that's something that A Wrinkle in Time can't do. I don't know too much about being a director of photography and what that's like and what color schemes are like, but from what I could tell, it did struggle in that area. And another reason this film struggles is also for its performances. It's not really just necessarily the kids. The kids in it are not great, obviously, and really I don't like saying that because I believe that kid performances are undermined way too much. Some of the best performances ever have been from kids. I hate that I forget the actor's name, but the kid in the 400 Blows gives an incredible performance at a very young age, and I think that society often focuses too much on kid performances being bad, but it's films like these that don't help that because the kid performances in here aren't great, but really they aren't great from the rest of the cast either. And I don't think that that is necessarily the director's fault. I think that that's more of the script's fault and the fact that they were given some really flimsy dialogue. So in the end, A Wrinkle in Time is a movie that really could have been something special. They were advertising it like it was going to be a big blockbuster, like people were going to flock to see it. I believe it has like an $160 million budget or something high up there. Disney was really expecting this to be a tentpole movie, but it really wasn't. It made like $40 million opening weekend, and it's doing fine so far, and it'll probably do a little better when spring break comes. But outside of that, it's really not doing anything exceptional. In the end, it's just not a movie that made any impact, and that's really because it does pound the theme in too much, and really because it's just far too boring for its own good. I will give A Wrinkle in Time a 4 out of 10. Alright, that concludes my review for A Wrinkle in Time. What are your thoughts on this film? Or what do you think of the book? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.